What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Brutal Planet Comics. I'm your host, Dre the Brute Daniels, and welcome to an episode of the Indie Corner, where I sit down with everybody from the independence community, writers, artists, directors, producers. Doesn't matter if you're in the game, I want to talk to you. So as usual, we have ourselves a great guest, a very fantastic guest this time, actually coming all the way from across the pond in the UK. He is the host of Jason Parker Comics and is a professional comic book collector. Give it up, everybody, for Jason Parker.
Hello. Well, what an introduction. Thank you, Andre. Listen,
Oh, Jason, the pleasure's mine.
Honestly, thank you so much for having me on your show. I've been catching up on your videos, mate. Fantastic content you've got, I have to say. And what I like about it is that you mix it up. Whereas with me, it's just comics, boring comics. But with you just keep it real. It's awesome. I love it.
Oh, thank you, Jason. I appreciate it, man. I've been catching up on your work over there. Your slab stuff is amazing. I think you and your wife are extremely entertaining.
Well, thank you.
You guys are great. So I'd had to reach out and have you on. This is great. I love having you here.
Oh, thank you so much.
Absolutely. So let's just jump right into a few things before we get into all the cool work and and you got to break down all the stuff you got going on in your background. Dear Lord, it looks like a comic book museum. Let's get to know you a little bit. Who you are, where you come from, how did we get here?
Sure. Okay. So my name's Jason Parker, hence Jason Parker Comics. I'm a 52-year-old fat man who basically was told a couple of years ago by my wife to do something with my life. She was basically, I was getting under her feet a lot, I think, and she said, why don't you actually do something with your life? And then COVID came in, didn't it? The pandemic came along, and she said, why don't you like comics, why don't you do something with your comics, start doing unboxings and things like that? So it kind of progressed from there, really. It started just over 2 years ago. And obviously, if you go back to my early videos, they're super retro. They're very basic, very basic. But not a lot has changed. I'm going to be honest with you. But during that time, I had to sort of learn the whole editing process and putting in audio clips and things like that. So it's been a huge learning curve for me, and I've really enjoyed it. I've got to be honest with you. What the biggest draw for me is meeting like-minded people who have a love for comics, for just general geekiness, DC, Marvel stuff. The shows, all the shows are out. So I'm quite. I'm a bit of a regular guest on other people's shows. In fact, I probably spend more time on other people's shows than on my own. So I've had, as you may or may not noticed, I've had a few issues with CGC over the past few years.
Yeah, so I've seen
unboxings, and there's been a few issues where there's been damages, wrong labels. I mean, I had the silver foils of Amazing Fantasy 15 with a DC label on it. So come on, what's going on, guys?
How the heck did that happen?
Just basically, there was no quality control, and it went back three times, mind. It went off to CGC to get it right. Absolutely bonkers. So yeah, I mean, we started off with unboxings, and then I do a few videos where I go out and about to local comic shops and just go and visit them, promote those guys, and that's it really. Just have fun with it, and I think that's the important thing. It's all about having fun, and as soon as it stops being fun, you've got to stop, haven't you? Do you know what I mean?
You ain't lying. I don't hear no lies being told here. Yeah, exactly. Like the fact that yeah, exactly. It's like it's about having a good time. Like if you're not passionate about what you're doing and not enjoying yourself, you're wasting your time. And I think that's the real kicker. And I think a lot of people lose sight of that. So here's a question I had for you. When did you start your collection? Like, have you been collecting for a number of years?
Here we go. Now, the thing is, Amanda's going to want the credit for this as well, right? It gets on my nerves. It really does. So basically, she bought a collection about 10 years ago. It was a house clearance, and there was probably about 300 to 400 books, and I think she paid about the equivalent of $250.
Okay.
And at the time, I was like, that seems quite expensive, for those books. I thought, what's in there? And they were just sat in our sort of front porch for about 6 months to a year. And I thought, let's just have a little rummage through these. And I started at that time, I was starting to get into comics. And I bought, I think, not the key collector, I had something else I was using to try and identify the keys. And as I was going through these books, I could see, hang on, there's an Amazing Spider-Man 101 there. Which was the first Morbius, and then you had Batman 181, which is the first Poison Ivy, and they were in pretty good condition, So eventually, the books kind of paid for themselves. I think there was a Silver Surfer 4 in there, some lovely books. There was a lot of trash in there, of course. Lots of 90s books, which we don't like.
Those are dark times. Don't look at that, Jason.
90s
don't look at that. Avert your eyes.
Yeah, that's right. That Rob Liefeld's got a lot to answer for.
Yeah.
But it sort of stemmed from there, really. And you get the bug, don't you? It's like you start collecting. You think, that could be worth something, and as time's gone on, it's gone more of I started doing the speculation game.
Okay.
Fell foul quite a lot because I started buying books because I liked the covers, not because they had any significance. Even like the Marvel Comics 1000, the D23 variant with the first Mickey Mouse on it. I really liked that cover. And I think I picked a copy up for about $300, and I managed then to get it slabbed to get a 9.8 on it and sold it for $1,000. But that's come right down now. That's like just dropped like a stone,
Yeah.
So as time has gone on, I've tried to concentrate more on Bronze Age and Silver Age books, really, and I've just started dipping my toe in some Golden Age, which is super expensive. But I do love those pre-code horror books, like maybe the EC and the Timely books. Some of the sort of classic horrors, like used to get like Vault of Horror and Tales from the Crypt and things like that. But so big horror fan. I love horror movies.
Nice.
And I've always been a bit of sort of a geek. I go to sort of film festivals like Fright Fest we have in the UK, which is like a 5-day weekend of just films. I think they show about 150 films.
Nice.
So it's pretty much all day, all night. But you're like a zombie by the end of it. You're like one of the films you just watched.
Yep, just sitting there like, next movie.
Bring
it to me.
That sticks in my eye, It's like, please help me out here. But so I've always had a bit of a love for geekiness stuff and weird things. But I think, to be fair, Amanda did sort of push me in the right direction, and now she's created a monster. Her fault.
Clearly, but that's awesome. That's really cool to see how you like. I always love asking folks about their comic book journey, because as a creator and as interviewed, God knows how many creators at this point, like we all have a different journey. Like me, I was born in it, molded by it. That's where I come from. When I came out the womb, Batman comic in my hand. That's that's just pretty much how it worked out. But everybody has a different journey, and I think that's really cool. I really like yours. It's unique, and I love a unique journey. The fact that it's coming from we call it over here a yard sale. We call it over here, yard sale.
Okay,
yeah. But that's really cool. That's really cool. So okay, all right. So you start getting your collections. When did you start the slabbing? Like just getting everything slabbed. When did you start that?
Well, this is a bit of a weird one. I joined quite a few Facebook groups, and I could see that people were sort of sending books off to what was then a weird name to me called CGC.
Yeah.
I thought, well, what's this strange company that people go on about? And I was immediately hooked by it, because not only could you preserve a book if you wanted to, you get an exact grade on it. Because I've been burned so many times where you've done it yourself, probably, Trey, right? You've been on eBay. You look at the picture on a book, and you go, I'm going to get that book. It's amazing. It says near mint. It arrives, loads of spine ticks down there. It's not the same book, and you get burned so many times.
Yeah, and maybe you can help me out on that, Jason. I don't mean to cut you off there, but I've seen that happen more often than not because like me, like I have a massive collection, which I like to call my retirement. I have a massive collection, and I have Superman #1. I have anniversary. Like I have anniversary Iron Man from the 10th anniversary joint. The with the platinum sheen on the front.
Yes.
Like I have all these legitimate collector, editions of comics that I've kept in pristine condition. But I'm nervous about sending it to get slabbed because like my feelings are the same because I've heard the same horror stories of like, oh, they sent one that was in near mint, and then when you got it back, you get an 8.5, and you look at it and it's not the same book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that does happen.
Yeah.
A strange one happened with me is that I'll show you the book. It's this very book here. So it's Amazing Spider-Man 238, first hobgoblin. Right, it had the very old label on it. It was a 9.6, and the difference of value between a 9.6 and a 9.8 was an extra $2,000. So I thought it was a risk worth taking. So I got a fantastic presser and cleaner. Right, the guy who pressed my comics, he pressed it, cleaned it, sent it off to CGC via a third party. Came back, so I didn't have a clue what the grade was going to be. It came back as a 9.4. 9.4. It dropped a grade, and we were like dumbfounded. So, well, how can that happen? And what happened? I sent it straight back to my presser. He cracked it back open again, and he could see right by where Spider-Man's crotch is, by here, there was like a finger indentation, like a nail, where perhaps the book had been opened, and there was like an indentation in his private area. So that was CGC. CGC did that when they were looking at the book. So they actually caused that damage, which made it drop grade. So when he he could see straight away what the problem was. He pressed it back out again, resubmitted it, and came back as 9.6 again. So it didn't come back as a 9.8 as I thought it would. Man. But it was still, I just wasted probably the best part of $300 with getting it pressed and cleaned and slabbed twice for just to get the same grade back and a new holder, which is frustrating. But there you go.
Yeah,
there's so many different horror stories about CGC. Don't get me wrong, I still love CGC. I have a love-hate relationship with them, and when things go right, they do a fantastic job. And I have to appreciate that they've got so many blooming cases to deal with, so many comics that they've got to press, and I understand mistakes will be made. But I was going through a phase where it was almost weekly or monthly. I was getting books back, and they were damaged. There was little bits of plastic. Where are these bits of plastic coming from? You know what I mean? It just dotted there. I couldn't find any crack or any break at all, but somehow a bit of plastic had got inside there. So I do not know what that is about. If someone, one of your viewers can let me know where that little bit of plastic comes from, I'd greatly appreciate it.
I bet you would. And that's like a lot of people's skepticism, especially collectors like yourself, or or those of us that had massive collections for many decades. We're just like, hey, we want to get it slabbed. We would love to, have them all displayed, like your glorious library you have there. But it's just there's an inert fear of something going wrong, especially for comics that you've held so dear to your heart for so long.
Yeah, absolutely. The concern is, like, say, if you've got, I probably wouldn't. I don't know. I'd put my trust in with Superman 1. I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't. And that's my thing. It's like there's been people like back before slabbing became a thing. I remember me and some of my cousins and stuff that had the collections. We would go to appraisers and see like what they're actually worth and whatever the case may be. And then they'll give us a figure, and we'd look at you like, no, you must be special needs. There's no way that this joint is worth that low. And then we balance. We're like, hey, we'll just preserve them ourselves. And then if the antique roadshow ever came through the town, then we, if it's worth a pretty penny, I can tell my wife she can quit her job and we can go and move up to the mountains and chill and enjoy our goats.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, don't blame you. I think the only way that I would perhaps consider going through CGC is actually turning up at the office and doing a walkthrough or something like that and waiting with it.
I agree.
See the whole process. So you're there sort of taking your baby along for a ride.
Exactly.
Because I would not want to sort of lose sight of it.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, I wouldn't. And like, as I'm saying, like, that's honestly, like, I know that's my most prized issue. I mean, there's not I don't think there's any debate unless I had, like, the first Human Torch or something, you know what I mean? But other than that, it's my crowning opus, you know what I mean? And I'm just like nah, like but what you said, like if I can walk in the factory and somebody hold my hand like a baby and walk on through that entire thing and be like, oh, that's my there she is right there, there she is, like okay, I'm down. But to be like, hey, I'm gonna clean it, press it, and then send it off to God knows who, and they're gonna treat my one, first of all, not rob me blind, and then send me something that's lower grade. Next, I'm sitting there with like a 8.3 or something, and I'm looking ridiculous. It's just hard to put that type of trust in it. That's just me.
Yeah, and personally, I wouldn't trust CCS, which is CGC's pressing company, because I've heard quite a lot of horror stories that their pressers have got the comic jammed in a machine or they overcooked it.
Oh,
yeah. So it's
Ooh. Oh, you just made my stomach hurt.
Yeah.
How you gonna do that to me, Jason? You give me indigestion.
Sorry about that, buddy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Here's an Alka-Seltzer for you.
How about a scotch? You got a scotch?
Alka-Seltzers?
Yeah. So tell me, Jason. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that story with us and your experience. So I know your collection is massive. Do you have any favorites that you have slabbed?
I've got a few favorites. It's like trying to choose between which is your favorite child. You can't really do it. Well, you do, but secretly you do. You do. You just can't tell them. Am I right?
Oh, yes. Very true.
You know who you are.
Oh, yes.
Right. So here's just a couple. I mean, I've got this one here, which is Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1. And it's the first appearance of the Sinister Six together. So nice. No real first appearances, but I just love the cover. And of course, it's 1964. I mean, flipping it. I mean, that's 60 odd years ago now. So great little book. And of course, you've got all the villains coming together. And again, I'm kind of specking on that a little bit for my retirement, hoping that there's going to be a Sinister Six movie. I mean, if they can release a Morbius movie...
Hello, twice.
They can do something with Sinister Six.
Yeah.
Again, some first appearances. I mean, I got Ghost Rider here.
Oh, sweet.
Low grade, but I am. One of my missions is to get a bit of a grade bump on this, but not this particular book. I'll probably try and sell this and then get another copy of higher grade, but. Again, love the cover. It's just great. Flaming skulls all the way.
You're a big cover guy, Jason.
I am. I'm easily influenced, mate. And again, I try to stay away from the modern books now, but I'm a big sucker for John Tyler Christopher.
Okay.
And his space variants. Absolutely love them. But here we are. Here's a nice little book here.
Oh, snap. Old School Man Without Fear. I was just talking about this book yesterday.
Really?
Holy crap. Yeah, I was just talking about this joint. Because everybody's talking about, She-Hulk and, the yellow suit, Daredevil coming back. And I was on a panel in which everybody thought that was not canon. And I'm like, excuse me.
Yeah, it's definitely canon.
Excuse me, it's definitely canon. Allow me to explain.
And of course, he just makes a quick appearance in the new She-Hulk trailer, doesn't he? So,
yep.
That's really cool. And then we've got like First Silver Surfer.
Wow.
And then we've got First Galactus then, which again, I think cover-wise, I think I prefer this cover.
I like that cover too.
But it's not as valuable as this one, but I do prefer it. I mean, you see this cover is homaged quite a bit on some other books.
Yeah,
it's
quite
just
a few.
great.
Yeah, a bunch actually. I think there was one. I think there was an Age of Apocalypse that actually parodied that. I think back in the 90s. Oh wait, there we go, the 90s again. I think back in the 90s, I think it was Age of Apocalypse that parodied that Galactus cover. I think it did the same hand gesture, but I think it was Planet Earth was in his crosshairs, if memory serves me right.
I just love the way the Fantastic Four are crapping their pants right there. There we go.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. Wait, hold on. Rewind a little bit, Jason. You said that the Galactus appearance one is worth more than the first Silver Surfer one?
No. So this one here is worth more than this one.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think I prefer this cover.
Okay.
So even though it's got higher value, it's just a great cover.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
Again, we're all specking on Galactus. We got Doctor Doom, Galactus. You know, who else are we going to have? Now, this is an interesting book. Little story behind this book here. Bought this book as a raw book, right? And
is that all new? Yeah, it's all new X-Men. Yeah, that is
all new X-Men. Yeah, it's X-Men '94, and I bought it as a raw book from someone in the UK. They had it in their collection apparently since buying it, and when I saw the photos, it was pristine. It was beautiful. Didn't have one single mark on it. And the guy wanted £1,000, which is about $1,200.
$1,200, about $1,200, yeah.
Yeah. I thought, well, the condition it's in, if I get it pressed and cleaned and slabbed, I can make my money back easy on this, and I could get like a really high grade. So, sent it off to my presser and cleaner, and maybe I need to change my press and cleaner. I don't know. But no, I sent it off to my press and cleaner, and he sent it to CGC. It came back as a 9.4 purple label.
Oh my!
Yeah, had restoration on it. All down the spine, someone had filled in all the little white gaps that you can perhaps see there now.
Oh.
So I was fuming because, as soon as you get a purple label, instantly the value of a book goes down by anywhere between a third and half. Wow. Nobody likes purple labels.
Wow.
Especially if a book is trimmed. Now, this came back, it said it had colour touch to the front cover. But when I asked CGC where it was, they said they didn't know, they couldn't tell me, but it's on there somewhere.
What?
So what happened, I sent it back to my presser. Again, we cracked it open. And with this one, he could see they didn't use any paints or crayons or anything to colour in. The person, whoever had it, must have had like grease or something or some dirt and just rubbed it in, so deliberately hiding the spine ticks.
Oh my God.
I was fuming. So he cleaned it off, and he had to sort of get away some of the dirt. The dirt was so ground in, he had to sort of cut away at it. And of course, it produced those spine ticks, and it came back as an 8.5. So it took a 2-point grade drop. So from a 9.4 all the way down to an 8.5. So very disappointing on that. But there you go. It is what it is. But a lovely book. Although, do you know what? That's gone down. It's really hit loads at the moment. And if you want to pick up that book, now's the time to buy it, because it's dropped quite a lot. Picked this up very recently.
Nice.
Amazing Spider-Man.
Before you jump to that one, Jason, you said that your other one had dropped in value. Like, is there a reason behind the value drop? Not as far as your issue is concerned.
I think what it is, right? The comic market had a bit of a boom, didn't it, about 12, 18 months ago, and it's slowly been coming down. And this book this book reached amazing heights. It was going for crazy money.
Okay.
It's now settling back down to
Okay.
more realistic levels. But at the time when I bought this as a raw book for $1,200, I was thinking, yeah, I could make some money. And I don't know if I'm going to now, to be honest with you, unless I just hold on to it and see what happens with it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. I was like, was it a market thing? But yeah, it's more of a market thing for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Mate, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see back there. I've got Amazing Spider-Man 129 Punisher there.
Yeah.
That's a 6.5, and I've just bought the 7.5, so I'm looking to sell my 6.5. So a little upgrade there.
Okay.
See what happens, Dre. Right, this is what you got to know about me. Right, is that I've made mistakes in the past where what I've done previously, if I've had that 6.5, I've sold it with the intent of getting an upgrade, but I've never actually got the upgrade, and I end up losing out on the book. So what I try to do now is to buy both books. So so I've got both books ready, and then I try to sell the lower grade one.
Okay,
but it doesn't work because
over here in the U.S., Jason, we call that hustling.
yeah, I think we call that in the UK as well. A little bit of hustle going on.
That's cool.
And then we've got obviously First Blade. Come on now.
Nice. Nice.
This is a UK Pens copy, and I like your thoughts actually, Dre, on cent copies, Canadian cent variants, and Pens copies. Where do you lie with that? What's your thoughts?
That's honestly, I've never put a whole lot of thought into those different variation versions because usually in the States we don't have to deal with it too much.
No.
But I was peeping your video when you were discussing it. For my audience sake, definitely, yeah, please break down the ins and outs of the cents and pence.
So what you've got so at the time of printing, I mean, when was this printed? Back in July of 1973. In the United States, all these books were printed in the same place. All that was different, that there was a little sort of plate, a printing plate, that would change whether it denoted a UK variant or a cents copy. Now, obviously, a lot more cents copies because obviously more people in the US than there are in the UK. So there was a lot more printed. But what happens apparently is that so that UK pence copies could get released at the same time as the US cents copies, that the UK copies were printed off first. So they were first off the printing press because they would invariably sometimes have to travel for days, maybe weeks, to get to the UK, and they usually travel by boat.
Yeah.
And what they would do, they'd use all bundles of comics as ballast for the boats. Yeah. So they'd be just huge boxes and all just tied up. You've got like, I'm trying to think of what it's called. It's like a plastic, it's like the plastic wire that goes around.
Yeah,
parcels.
We use it for newspapers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, the top 2 or 3 or bottom 3 copies
are ruined,
will be torn to shreds because they'll just be wrecked. But so the theory behind it is, right, and I don't know if this is just UK enthusiasts saying this, is that there's less UK copies, which makes them potentially rarer. But there's also the fact that they were printed first before the cents copies, which makes them perhaps a bit more collectible. Having said that, I'm a big cents copy fan, and at the time, if I told you I picked this up for $300 raw, you may be surprised. But yeah, I found this comic shop that had been the comic store. Where was it? It's probably about 3 hours from me. I went with my friend James Mack from MJ Comics, and we absolutely raided the place. It was untapped. It was just incredible books there. A
smorgasbord.
And the poor guy, he really didn't have a clue on comic prices. So we did really well, to be fair, out of that. So that's it with pens copies and cents copies. And of course, Canadian copies, I think tend to fetch more. Historically, right? UK pens copies don't fetch as much.
That's correct.
As
That's correct.
US copies, but for some reason, Canadian send copies to fetch a premium. And my feeling about this is that you've still got the dollar sign on the book, or cents on a book. Whereas if you've got a pence or a shilling, from a US perspective, the book doesn't meet the exact criteria of what a US American comic book should look like.
And I'm willing to agree. I'm willing to agree on that theory, there, Jason.
That's just my thoughts.
No, I know, but it has credence. It has credence, because here in the States, well, when it comes to between golden age, silver age, whatever, and when we still have the cents time, but now everything's on barcodes now, whatever. But like outside of modern comics, who cares about that? So, but I've never really given it any real thought about the Pence comics value. I think even in the States, I think that should, in my personal opinion, I think that should fetch more than for the cents in that case, because like you just mentioned, rarity and print wise. If I make a statue. If I make a statue and it is my first statue I've ever made, I become famous. This statue now goes into a museum. Well, after I'm dead, but it goes into a museum. It goes to a museum. If I then make 2, 3, 4 more, even though it's of the same high quality, it's still not my first. And now the fact that it's first, and let's just say for the sake of argument, on that one statue, I put my first ever signature on it. Now it's number 1.
Yeah.
And it has my original stamp. So now, not only, like you said, not only is it the collectible, but it should fetch more. And I think you're onto something. I think that makes a lot of sense to me. Sense. To me.
Sense of pence.
Yeah. Yeah. But I've been thinking you're making a good point there.
Yeah. But of course, the comic community and the comic collectors dictate the market. So, it is what it is. You just got to run with it. That's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah. No, but I think that's valid. I think that's valid.
I think, to be honest with you, personally speaking, I do actually prefer a Sense copy over a Pence copy. But I think for the higher big end books, my Grail, right? One of the Grails I'm after is I want X-Men 1, right? If that was a Pence copy, that would not bother me in the slightest.
I don't think so.
Because they're just so relatively rare to get them at a decent price. I went to a Comic-Con yesterday.
Oh, sweet.
A guy offered me, it was about just under $7,000 for an X-Men 1 raw copy. It was Pence, and it was pretty beat up. It was... I would say maybe if you're lucky, you might get a 2.0 out of it,
Oh boy.
And again, is it one of those books that you want to send off to CGC? I don't know. But of course, the values of the X-Men 1 book, with all the hype going on, with the potential of Wolverine, and of course we have Ms. Marvel, who turns out to be, spoiler, a mutant. So, who knows what's going to happen,
Yeah, that's a good question. Who knows what's going to happen? Miss Marvel's a mutant now. Who's writing this nonsense? She's an Inhuman.
Exactly. Where's that come from?
Yeah.
Where's that come from?
Who wrote this? Who wrote this?
It's a tenuous link, isn't it?
Yeah. Always nonsense. I'm not gonna make it, Jason. Hey, I remember that one. I remember your wife guessed on that one, isn't it?
Yes, she did. Yeah. First Doctor Strange. Hello. That annoyed me. She got it, to be honest with you, because there's no way she would have got that. And she said, "Oh, it just appeared in my head. It just whatever."
She saw you coming, Jason. She hustled you. She saw you coming.
She did her research, mate.
Oh yeah.
Boo!
Yo, I love that cover. I love that cover so much. Look, I've never I've been writing comics for many years, but my as you see, I'm all thumbs. I can't draw to save my life. I had my cousin do a commission for that comic, but I homaged it. I replaced Wolverine with one of my original characters, and then with one of his villains.
All
I,
right.
I love that. I love that Hulk and first appearance Wolverine cover. I think it is beautiful. That's one of my favorites all time.
Same. I think that's why I left it to last. And again, you've got some major first appearances there from big hitters. But first Wolverine, what an iconic cover. And the thing is, this is more readily available than the other books. But it's just such a great cover, isn't it? And I paid. I'm trying to work out now. Probably best part of $6,500 for this as an 8.0.
So if you wanted to turn that around for profit, I mean, like it's 8.0, it's pretty good. How much would you end up turning around for that?
Well, the current market on that is around about 8,500, something like that. So I got it for a really good deal, and up until recently, it did hit I think $10,000 in an 8.0. But obviously the market has settled down. It has come down, so I could, if I wanted to, make a pretty profit. But if I am going to sell it, I don't need to do it to upgrade, and sell it at the right time. Obviously when Wolverine makes an appearance in the MCU.
Oh, there's going to be some money to be made. Oh,
yeah.
There's going to be some money to be made.
Yeah. Where do you think Wolverine will fit in then in the MCU?
That's a good question. So I'm gonna be honest with you, Jason. I am not a fan of Phase 4 at all. It's done nothing for me. Everything has been disconjointed. Everything is nonsensical. And now,
a little bit meh, isn't it? A bit
meh at best.
Yeah.
Meh at best. And now it's gonna end with Wakanda, and then I'm just like, nothing's happened. Like we're not building towards anything. We're just like the Phase 4 is feeling like a pulp film to me. Just random things not connecting. Hey, shiny things, and I think it's oversaturation of the market at this point. It's too many things happening at once.
Too many Disney Plus shows as well.
Too much.
Throw in the mix.
Too much.
Do you think though? My thoughts on this. Obviously, Kevin Feige, genius,
smart man,
and what they did with Phase 1, 2, and 3,
absolutely
was incredible.
Absolutely,
bringing it all together. Do you think somewhere down the line, even if it's at Phase 5 or 6, it's all going to fit in place, and we'll go, wow, if you look back now at that, at the time there was absolutely no connection whatsoever, but now there is. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Jason, that's going to be a tough stretch for me, brother. That's going to be a tough stretch for me.
I know. I'm grasping at straws here.
Yeah, it's a tough stretch for me because, like, if you look back at, like me, I'm looking back at Phase 1. I'm going back and rewatching all the movies and, all that stuff. The groundwork was laid so well because we got to get to know Captain America, we got to know Thor, we got to know, oh my God, Iron Man, double. Yeah, like we got to know these characters. We got to see how their stories are connecting through, like how the end credit scenes were used. I got to say, brilliantly on how you can interconnect and then feed more interest into what's coming up next. That has not happened once.
No.
And the best movie we had was more or less non-connected to anything, and that's No Way Home. No Way Home was a brilliant film.
Amazing.
However, in the grander scheme of things, because of Sony property, blah 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 blah, but in the grander scheme of things, what is it doing? What did that connect to?
What does it add to coming movies?
Nothing. It added nothing, and because
it reset Spider-Man, didn't it? So he's back to basics. He hasn't those suits anymore now.
Yeah, and that's fine, and that I'm cool. Like with Sony and doing what they're doing with Spider-Man is great. The second movie of Amazing Spider-Man was garbage, but outside of that, like things with Sony is doing with Spider-Man is really good. But what I'm seeing with Phase 4, in my personal opinion, is is nightmarish to me. Because I'm not even talking about like quality declining, but it's like, well, yeah, quality declining. And that's first and foremost. And They're not trying to write stories to interconnect or tell something. I feel like everything is a message or something is a political statement or stuff like that, and that takes me and a lot of, well, quite frankly, their core audience, the U.S. audience, out of it. And so when you do stuff like that and then try to change course halfway through and then try to send through member berries at us, like, oh, guess what, Wolverine, I like Wolverine, but I also have a lot of great Hugh Jackman Wolverine that I love and enjoy.
Yeah.
You're going to have to, as I like to say, seduce me. You're going to have to seduce me.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Buy me dinner, buy me a drink, take me out, schmooze me.
Yes.
And then see what happens back at my place.
Yeah, exactly. Now we, don't walk up to me and say, hey, come up to my apartment. Hold on now.
Buy me a drink.
Hold on now. Let's work something out. And that's where I just think like phase 4 is, well, that's almost over now. Phase 4 is ending and nothing has happened. And now we're going into phase 5 and we're going into Blade and all these other different characters that need their own layout and their own traction. And I'm just like, who's in charge again? I'm a little confused. Is this the same guy that put together a masterpiece that spanned a decade? It feels like they're trying to get a decade of storytelling in a year's time. I'm like, that's not how this foundation works at all. And now it's like, throw it at them. Guess what? Next month, new show. Hey, 2 movies. I'm like, no one's watched any of them. like, bro, I just think they're losing their way. I feel like they're losing their way.
I agree. Shang-Chi and Eternals were very
mid.
And
like Jason, I was crucified online because like Shang-Chi, those of us that know the comics knows that he's a D-list comic. He is.
Yeah. No, that's right.
It's reality.
And I'm trying to think why they would bring in like the Eternals and Shang-Chi. Why they bring them into the universe? Is there something that's going to happen?
No.
Even with the end credit sequences, there's nothing really that's giving us any more.
Why introduce Star Fox when Thanos is dead?
Yeah, that's right. Pip the Troll.
Hello. I mean, I'm just like, and this is like when I was talking about Shang-Chi before it came out and everything. I made a video on it and I said he needs the Black Widow treatment. He needs the Black Widow treatment to be inserted in somebody else's film. We get to know him, we follow him, we get it, and then we make a film. Same thing for Falcon. I know who Falcon is. I know. I have the books. As a matter of fact, I still have like an inbox statue of Falcon from like 1977. I still have that thing. You introduce him in Captain America. We get to see him in Avengers. We get to see him with the growth, and then you get his own show. I hated the show, but you get his own show. It has a following because we got to know this character for general audiences, and that's the argument I was making for Shang-Chi. These people over here in the States came after my blacktail.
Really?
They were like, "Oh no, you just don't want to see a Asian lead." I'm like, listen to me. Listen. Hear my words. Hear my words. He's not a known character. This movie's going to flop because general audiences don't know who he is.
There's so many more characters out there that they could have chosen.
And my thing is this: if you want to use Shang-Chi, fine. Look, do what they did with Black Panther. Do what you did with Black Panther. Put him in Civil War. Audiences loved him. You make a movie. This is simple stuff.
That's right.
It's not hard, but but when you're pushing identity politics and all whatever else, and you're just like, hey, we just gotta put color out there. Put color out there. I'm like, listen. I've been black a long time.
How long?
A long time. Real long time. Jason, this don't come off here. And I'm like, listen. Well, we just want to see characters that we know and love developed properly. I don't care if they're white, blue, a lady, whatever. As long as they're developed properly and you're doing it the right way, we're all gonna come to the cinema, and we're all gonna give you our money.
Yeah. no. And that's the same sort of ethos that Stan Lee had as well, when introducing all these characters, from such diverse backgrounds. And so that's always been there, hasn't
Always.
it? But with Stan, you had some great storytelling, and that's what people loved.
Yep.
Ultimately.
Yep.
Not because you're throwing in some token people, just to sort of. It's all about having strong characters, great storylines, and just having fun with it, isn't it? I think getting a bit bogged down. I think in politics, maybe. I don't know.
Yep. No. You're 100% correct, especially over here in the States. And like when you mentioned on your offset about how you're not really getting into modern comics and stuff like that, you're not alone. I've been buying and collecting comics before I could walk. I have not bought a new modern comic in a long time.
Oh, really?
In a long time. I think the last quote unquote modern comic I bought, I actually broke my streak, and I bought I love Tom King. He's one of my favorite living writers. I love Tom King, and I bought the Rorschach because it was an offshoot, and I'm enjoying that read. But he's like the exception to my rule.
Yeah.
Everyone else, these writers they're not good. And like us in the independent market that's been writing comics and producing comics on our own, there's been an opportunity for us to actually take some from the big boys. So they can keep stabbing themselves in the foot if they want to, but as far as as a fan of the writing and a fan of the medium, it's kind of heartbreaking to see how far things have fallen. It's just kind of rough.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So one more question I have for you, Jason.
Ooh, it's exciting.
So.
No, you can't.
So, CW and Warner Brothers Media, which was Warner Brothers Discovery. A lot of nonsense happened last week.
Oh, it's crazy. They dropped a hand grenade, didn't they? And it
may have been a bazooka pointed at the ground.
Oh, wow.
with the what's the fair word, destruction of Batgirl and just about any other current DC project being worked on being shelved. When you heard the news, how did you react to it?
Initially, I was really, really shocked at the fact that the Batgirl movie, the fact that you've got Keaton coming back potentially as Batman. You had J.K. Simmons coming back as Commissioner Gordon. So you had, big cast. And I heard somewhere along the lines they spent between 75 and 80 million on it, and they've just shelved it. Obviously, they weren't happy with it. But then is it a good thing that they're not releasing? Do you remember what happened with Fantastic Four?
I do.
With Dr. Frank.
I do.
Yeah. They shouldn't have released that, really.
Yeah.
I don't know. Listen, I love the fact that they've got a 10-year plan and they're starting it with Ezra Miller's Flash. What the hell? What the? Oh.
I'm still. We had this debate actually yesterday about what's it gonna take to get that movie shelved and or recasted, and we came up with all types of things that I cannot mention on YouTube. That for that joint to be shelved. I think
he should be locked up. He should be locked up.
Oh yeah. For I don't know, kidnapping, assault, battery, disturbing the peace, trespassing,
strangling. He strangled a fan, didn't he?
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, there'd be foolishness. It's he needs to go.
Yeah, I know. And obviously, they must be doing some sort of rewrites now to.
Yeah, there's been reshoots
to get him out.
They have to.
The end of the movie, because they've invested so much. Again, I'm hearing figures around about $250 million has been spent on this film. They can't shelve it.
They can't.
And you've got some big tentpole films though coming out new for DC. You've got Shazam 2. You've got Black Adam. which I am looking forward to. I'm a big fan of The Rock.
Oh, okay. You can have them. You can have The Rock.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take it.
Yeah, but and I thought it was. I mean, David Zaloff. He's not messing around. Like a matter of fact, I'm actually about to drop a video on him now. I think his motives are the ones that I would appreciate for a businessman. He wants to make money, and DC's been tanking for years now.
Yeah,
and I think this is a really good. I really think this is a good thing that he's going there and kicking down the doors of trashy projects that do not need to see the light of day. I think this is a step in the right direction because this joint needs to be cleaned up, and that he actually is trying to put a plan together.
He's taking no prisoners at all. It's crazy. It must be crazy that I think people working for DC within the DCEU, they must be crapping themselves.
Oh yeah, because all their shows are getting cut.
Tomorrow.
Oh, Gotham Knights, please be canceled. Please, Lord, if you be merciful, get rid of it. Get rid of the garbage.
I heard a rumor that Superman and Lois is all right, though, isn't it? It's quite a good show.
I enjoyed that show.
My friend watches it. My friend Peter from Triple G Comics. He's raving about it all the time. He loves it.
It's a good show. Especially being on the CW, which is known for trash. It's a good show. I enjoy it. I enjoy the Twin Boys. I enjoy how they're introducing characters, like how they introduced Steel was really cool. What like the villains are but what all things considered, like even the family drama stuff is not so overbearing and not trying to beat you over there with a message. I enjoy that show, and Superman is allowed to be Superman. So
and that's what I've heard. I heard that he is what he is. He's Superman, and he's almost like the Golden Age Superman.
Yes,
there's nothing getting in the way. He is who he is. You know, there's no sort of alter egos or where he turns bad or anything like that. He's a good guy, and he's doing what it says on the tin. Really.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly. Truth, justice, in the American way. You know, he's that guy. And there it is, Jason. That's it. That's the move. But man, oh man, Jason, I've had such a good time talking with you today.
It's been great fun, mate. Great fun.
My brother.
Thank you for having me.
Oh no, the pleasure was all mine. It's all mine. So, is there anything coming up on your channel? Anything coming up on your show that you'd like to share with everybody coming up soon?
Yeah. So I've just dropped a video now where I've got my first pedigree book from CGC, and that's just out now. I did that with Amanda. It's weird because my videos seem to do a bit better with Amanda than on my own. So I'm having to sort of bring her in, you know, a bit more. And she's like, Jason, I don't want to do it. But I'm kind of like blackmailing her a little bit, maybe.
Daddy needs to get some more slab money, so come on over here.
That's right. Yeah. So I've got that. I've got a couple more videos where I visit some cons. Visit some comic stores. I've got all the footage there. I've just got to find time to edit it all. So you know what it's like. It's you know. And like I said, I'm a 52-year-old guy, right? And the thing is, I'm not really quick with my fingers and all this editing malarkey. So I just have to try and, you know, do things at my own pace. You know, but I'm a bit of a perfectionist as well. And if something's not quite right, I'm like this for ages, tapping my fingers. But yeah,
as you should be.
It's getting there. It's getting there.
Good. But Jason, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show and share this illustrious journey with me today. I really do appreciate it, my brother. And this will not be the last time we speak. I'll have to
reciprocate as well. You'll have to come on my show as well.
Oh, you just give me the time and the place, brother, and I'll definitely show up and cause a little chaos.
Great. I love chaos.
Awesome. Well, everybody, that right there is Jason Parker. Follow him on all his social media platforms and on YouTube. I'm going to leave all of his information in the description section below. And also, who am I? I'm Dre, the Brute Daniels. Follow me on all my dope social media platforms as well. I'll put it right under my face. They're not there yet, but they will be. At TheBrute00 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and if I feel like being silly, on TikTok. This has been the Indie Corner. You all have been awesome, and I'll catch you all next time. Also, if you want to support my channel, check out spinwiz.com or download the SpinWiz app and check out my comic series, Trouble. It was written with a lot of love, and it was definitely my favorite comic series to write. I've also written it in English and in Spanish, so whatever floats your boat, I got it for you. Thanks again, and check it out.